Hey guys, I'm Dav, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Yes indeed, we are back with the Faction Unlocker, playing a free-for-all. Of course, I've taken the Greenskins. We're going to be led by Grimgor Ironhide, got some Black Orcs up front with some Savage Orcs and Gobos out on the flanks. We've also got 2 units of Night Goblins to back them up for some poison attacks. 2 Orc Boar Chariots. We've got a Goblin Big Boss with some Orc Boar Biggins here. For the other factions, we've got Skaven, Empire, and the Dwarfs. So, we've got Goat Jesus here playing the Empire. He's got Swordsmen up front with 2 units of handgunners, some great swords and halberdiers, 2 Hellstorm rocket batteries with another halberdier to defend. Looks like he's got Karl Franz up on Deathclaw with a Bright Wizard. Very fun stuff. So that Hellstorm rocket battery is going to be opening up shots immediately on me. For Turin here, who's playing the Dwarves, our own beloved Turin. He's got a front line of Longbeards with great weapons with some Iron Breakers, Dwarf Warriors out on the flanks, 2 units of Thunderers, and 1 group of Quarrelers. He's also got 2 Dawi Cannons and 1 group of Slayers. His forces are led by the High King himself, Thorgrim Grudgebearer, and he's also got a Thane. Let's see, yep, he is carrying the Tormentor Sword, of course, which is the new item that he can carry, which gives him a hex in a area of effect around himself, which is very, very useful. He's also got a Runesmith, probably carrying the new and improved Rune of Wrath and Ruin, which gives a minus 48% speed debuff. We've also got the Skaven. So the Skaven are kind of an old world faction. They certainly are very prevalent in the old world, and we would hope to see them there in the future. Now, he's got a front line of Plague Monks with Censer Bearers. He's got a Grey Seer Lore of Ruin, having a grand old time up on that Screaming Bell. He's also got a Plague Claw Catapult, 2 units of Clan Rat Spears, and here in the woods, very nice pick, he's got some Night Runners. I believe, yep, 1 unit of Night Runners, 1 unit of Death Runners, and over here he's got another unit of Death Runners. So very good stuff. I'm in a bit of a pickle here, to be honest, at the beginning of this, because I don't have any artillery, and I'm facing up against 3 very strong artillery factions. So I'm not really sure what to do at this point. I don't really want to charge into that Hellstorm rocket battery, but I also don't really want to charge into that Plague Claw catapult. The army I have is really not going to do very well up against what the Skaven have brought. They've got a lot of Plague Monks and Censer Bearers and those Death Runners, who somehow haven't been spotted. Oh, they actually popped the concealment bombs here to make sure they don't get spotted. That's very good play there. Meanwhile, the rest of the force is just trying to decide who to square off against, you know, kind of repositioning their artillery just to get some opening shots here. Skaven do look to be coming towards me, so we're going to oblige them and get in there. However, chasing with these chariots on the Death Runners and the Gutter Runners with poison too, this is going to be really bad because they do have the snare nets, so that gives minus 24% speed and charge speed, which is huge. Combine that with the poison, which gives also minus 24% speed. They're at minus 48% speed when they're attempting to charge these guys. They can just kite away and continue to chuck those poison shurikens, I guess, is what they are. And they're going to just do some nice damage here. And Orc Boar Chariots do have 90 armor, so they won't take a ton of damage here. But still, it's going to severely you know, lessen the amount of impact damage they can do. My opponent also doing a very good job blocking with this this Grey Seer here up on his bell. And you can see the charge is just super ineffective here. Along with the Discourage, these Orc Boar Chariots are already about to rout. We do get 1 nice charge into the front there, do a little bit of shock damage onto those Censer Bearers and these, you know, the Plague Monks and so on, but really these guys are not going to stand in here for very long. That Discourage, let's see what it is. I forget the actual name of it, but the Discourage that the Plague Monks have and the Plague Claw Catapult has is just going to drive these guys off the battlefield, and they're done for already. So very unfortunate for me. Meanwhile, the Empire and the Dawi are moving to meet across the hill here. Definitely taking some shots from the Hellstorm rocket batteries, but, you know, the Dawi are a proud people. They fear no evil. So they're not going to be afraid there. I do have my Goblin Wolf Rider archers around here, just trying to do some harass onto the Empire flanks. I was hoping I could get some free shots into these Hellstorm rocket batteries and take them offline, generate some really nice value there. My Orc Boar Biggins are also kind of far back away. I honestly need them in this main fight here. If I had been able to time their charge appropriately, we could have done a lot of shock damage to these Plague Monks, but meanwhile, we're getting Savage Orcs in here, fighting up against the Plague Monks. We've also got Grimgor in here, hewing away at Skaven like he loves to. I haven't honestly read a lot of the books, but isn't there some story where Grimgor just stands in a tunnel for a few years killing Skaven non-stop, something like that? Anyway, Black Orcs you can see also hewing away here. Savage Orcs out on the flanks, doing fairly well against the Plague Monks, but they're also taking quite a bit of damage. The Censer Bears do have magic attacks, so the physical resistance of the Savage Orcs is going to do pretty much nothing against their attacks. Plague Monks, although they don't have, the regular Plague Monks don't have magic attacks, so but you know, they themselves also do have, let's see, physical resistance, so only 15%, not quite as much as the 25% of Savage Orcs, but still, not going to be super effective for me. The Death Runners also are going to be doing some really nice work here, sundering the armor of these Black Orcs. Yeah, you can see their, oh, it looks like the Weeping Blade just dropped off them. Or no, that's actually just poison? Huh, I'm not sure. I know there's some Death Runners hanging around here somewhere that are going to really make me have a bad day. Meanwhile, over here, you can see the Empire front line just not able to hold up to this heavy, you know, Dawi force here. Definitely winning the infantry engagement as you would expect them to, at least in that pocket. In this pocket over here with the Great Swords, the Empire is trading a bit more effectively. They're actually doing pretty well up against those Ironbreakers, all things considered. But Karl Franz is in here. He's got the Cascading Fire Cloak. Looks like we're going to be dropping a nice Vortex spell right on top of this blob here. So boom, that Flame Storm goes off and does quite a bit of damage actually. Wasn't crazy effective, but the more that these Dawi units kind of pursue into the Flame Storm and just stand on top of that damage, it's going to be a really rough time for them. Wow, what a cool cinematic shot. Ah, I love free-for-all, and with the Old World factions coming soon, it's going to be a good time. Wow, just amazing. Karl Franz, though, he's not too happy. His morale is very, very low. He's taking quite a bit of damage from Thorgrim and these others, so he's going to rout off. But the Fire Mage is still getting some really nice action here. Burning Head going down. Not going to do a ton of damage, but it was pretty decent, actually. The Hellstorm has been continuing to fire here and actually gotten some really nice work done. Handgunners getting pretty low, though. Empire forces are looking pretty tattered. Looks to be like the Dawi will push through and succeed on this one. He's also still got these two cannons online, firing over into my Orc Boars, over into this line over here, just getting value no matter what he hits. The Orc Boars were trying to get on this Plague Clock Catapult, but just getting shut down by these Clan Rat Spears. That cannon landing some nice hits there as well. You can see my front line's mostly crumbled at this point. Grimgor's been able to do a lot of damage, 54 kills, but not able to take down this Grey Seer because the Grey Seer just keeps knocking him over. And of course, being surrounded by the Plague Monk Censer Bears does not help. These Black Orcs have been doing well in this pocket here, but the rest of my forces, because we engaged right next to this line here, my forces got routed off, and it was really, really unfortunate. So I'm pretty much done at this point. I've shattered from army losses, so it's up to Papa Soda, Turin, and Goat Jesus to finish this off. You can see some Outriders here camping out in the forest with these Halberdiers. After having seen some of my forces off, they're going to come back and reinforce this desperate fight up against the Dawi. You can see the Halberdiers that were being held in reserve being pulled in now, but Karl Franz actually gets gunned down by those Thunderers and the Quarrelers as well. This Runesmith, though, having a pretty bad time getting circle beaten by these Great Swords. And man, I love this Sudenburg color scheme. I think it looks really, really nice with the cream and the red stripes and the black and gold. It looks really nice. CA, please, can we get an army painter so I can paint my actual Empire army like this? Please, please, please. If in Game 3, Free-for-All has been a wild success, you can invest more resources into multiplayer and it will pay off, I promise. Now, please, please just give us an army painter. I would kill for an army painter. Anyway, the Longbeards with great weapons here knocking around these swordsmen, getting rear charged by the Bright Wizard, and that line of handgunners, man, just continuing to fire away, getting some nice shots through these kind of gaps in the lines here. Going to be doing some good damage, and that storm of rockets from the Hellstorm rocket battery, not making super solid contact, but the fact that these guys are still online, still able to fire, is really nice for the Empire player. It does look like these Iron Breakers are coming in, though. They're all kinds of angry, being shot in the back here. They've got grudges to settle, so they're going to be probably pitching some blasting charges, I would imagine. They are getting gunned down by those Outriders, though. Meanwhile, a lot of the Dawi forces are regrouping to the cannons as the Skaven are here. They are pushing through. Papa Soda's quite well in the lead at this point, but you can see these Slayers being thrown in here up against Plague Monks. This is not really a super cost-effective trade for the Slayers, I would imagine. Granted, Slayers are only 900 now, but the Plague Monks do have anti-infantry and are kind of a damage dealer unit. And the Slayers do not want to be taking that free damage. But you can see now this cannon's been heavily compromised. The Slayers have failed in their duty to protect the cannon. They were trying to get in here on this Grey Seer with the Lore of Ruin, but just getting pulled back in. They're not able to pull away effectively to that fight. However, the Quarrelers are on station here. We've also got these Thunderers. Plague Claw Catapult is firing in from across the hill. And it's going to be... At this point, the Empire is not quite out of this yet. He's still got some ammo on the Hellstorm rocket battery here, going to be firing away into the regrouping Dawi forces, landing a few really nice solid hits there. Wow, and some solid hits from the Plague Claw Catapult too, so the Dawi forces at this point are just getting gunned down hardcore, and Turin's taking a major beating, but he is getting some nice points out of it. These Longbeards with great weapon faced up against Death Runners is not an efficient trade for the Longbeards. They're going to have a bad time there. Thorgrim, though, is going to be able to beat down these Death Runners fairly effectively. The Dwarf Warriors taking quite a bit of damage as well. These two Dawi heroes standing in the pocket. This thing getting beaten up by these Censer Bears. It's not going to be too fun. And man, these Censer Bears ended up being kind of MVPs in this free-for-all match. They ended up doing quite well against quite a few factions here. So well played to Papa Soda bringing those guys. Runesmith is still healthy. There's this one group of Censer Bears that's on this cannon here, but they should be able to be seen off considering they're very, very low. Hopefully he can get this cannon back online and continue to generate some value out of it. Meanwhile, Empire forces just kind of forming a defensive front up against whatever succeeds from this fight, content to just allow the Hellstorm rocket battery to expend the last of its ammunition, which it just has. Plague Claw Catapult now turning its attention to the Empire forces that are regrouping over here, and if it manages to land a solid hit on these swordsmen or any of these other units here, it could potentially rout them off. A lot of these Empire units are really struggling to hold their leadership together. Meanwhile, the Dawi forces here, very nice positioning from Turin with these skirmishers here, getting some fire over into these gutter runners. You can see they're also under the Rune of Wrath and Ruin, very, very slow at only 22 speed. So this Runesmith with his hammer out, he's chasing them down angrily. But, you know, his leadership is definitely suffering as well. He's exhausted, he's taking fire, being poisoned. Pretty soon he's going to get hit by this Grey Seer with the bell. Actually, no, it looks like they're turning away, opting to go after this range contingent, which is very, very good. That Overcast there, though, oh man, that Scorch did some decent damage. Not as much as he would have liked, but the Grey Seer is taking a lot of fire now, and oh, looks like the dreaded 13th spell coming up there, and Storm Vermin with halberds popping out, running down on this. Oh man, this is going to be a bad, bad time for the Dawi. They're going to get caught here by these Storm Vermin with halberds. The Quarrelers are going to take a ton of damage there, and the Thunderers being thrown in to try and buy the Quarrelers a little bit more time here. But, oh no, this is even worse. Oh man, the Storm Vermin with halberds I don't think have any mass right now, and if they get a surround on Thorgrim, they're going to absolutely beat him down. These Halberdiers clashing with Plague Monks up on the hill, the rest of the Empire forces regrouping here. But it looks like the Storm Vermin don't actually have an attack order on Thorgrim, so that's a huge mistake here. They're actually charging in on the Empire forces, and they're going to get in on these greatswords and completely shred what's left of them. Interesting. If he would have surrounded Thorgrim with those Storm Vermin and used the zero mass of them to just beat him down, he would have gone down so fast with that anti-large armor piercing. But, you know, good on Papa Soda for not taking advantage of that. It is kind of abusive in some ways, so, you know, nice on him. We've got Plague Monks here getting the rune right to their face. That Runesmith is, man, he's getting some really nice value. I actually don't think that direct damage spells, Rune of Wrath and Ruin included, get... I don't believe that they get value, but as long as he's able to slow them down and allow these other units to generate value, that in and of itself is good, you know. And at this point, it's still pretty close. Turin's 1,100 to Papasoda's now 1,500. But a lot of the Skaven forces are starting to get very, very tattered. And what the Dawi have left, the Empire, I'm not sure they're going to be able to deal with everything. So that unit of Halberdiers up on the hill getting shattered by the Censer Bears. This one unit of Gunner Runners is still very healthy, destroying one of these Dawi cannons, and the last of the crew is going to get finished off by these Plague Monks here. So the Empire Outriders not faring well up against the Night Runners, as to be expected. But at this point, you can see Empire's got a nice pocket of forces. The Skaven are very, very low at this point. The only real unit they have left is this unit of Gutter Runners, and they're going to start taking some nice fire from those Quarrelers. And Thorgrim as well, he's not too happy about things. None of these guys really have the armor piercing to get through Thorgrim, so he should be able to beat down most of them. As long as he can just hold his leadership together. You can see a very nice burning head about to go off here, going to roast a bunch of those Skaven. And oh man, that did some devastating damage to those Skaven units, and it actually routed off that Runesmith as well. Wow, what a great burning head from Goat Jesus there. And it is actually going to catch these units over here as well. Oh man, wow, 10 out of 10 on that burning head. That was awesome. So the rest of the Dawi force is going to pull back kind of towards this forest over here. Meanwhile, the Empire force is just trying to clean up what's left of the Skaven before going after the Dawi. He does have some ammo on these handgunners, which could be very useful in helping to take down Thorgrim. If he can bail out these Night Runners here, or excuse me, bail out these Halberdiers from these Night Runners. This, yep, looks like he's going to be bringing down the Bright Wizard, casts a Cascading Fire Cloak on these guys to buff up 71 melee defense. Holy cow, so those guys are going to be holding very strong. Meanwhile, the Bright Wizard himself coming in there, routing off those Night Runners, as well as the Outriders now going to be getting a catch and chase on them. So they should be able to chase them down and pretty much finish them off. So it looks like it's just the Dawi versus the Empire now. The Skaven do have a few units left over here towards the edge of the map, but they're not going to be able to hold their leadership together. Outriders now making solid contact here. They're going to be running down these rats for the Emperor, who's lying over there somewhere with Deathclaw in a very undignified manner. But yeah, now time for the last stand of the Dawi. You can see the Outriders going to be charging through, some withering fire coming down from those handgunners, picking off a few of those Quarrelers. But Thorgrim, he's got grudges to be settled here, and he's going to be attempting to charge through, but the Outriders getting a really sneaky charge here right onto those Quarrelers. Very, very nice. The Bright Wizard's going to come down and challenge the Runesmith. Runesmith does have quite a bit of armor, but of course he's not on a horse, so he'll get knocked around quite a bit by the Bright Wizard. Getting a nice attack animation there. If he can somehow rout this Runesmith off, that would be very, very nice, because you can see the Rune of Wrath and Ruins going to tear away what's left of these Halberdiers. And the regrouped Skaven, oh no, they've got some Death Runners here. These guys are going to be devastating in this late game. I did not see them before. They've got the Weeping Blade and, of course, heavy armor piercing. They are stock right now, just barely now getting revealed, and those handgunners are actually going to rout off. So it's looking really rough for the Empire. They're just about hitting army losses here. But same thing with the Dawi. They've just got Thorgrim left. And man, what an epic finish. The Bright Wizard as well. Going to be trying to come down, deciding not to bail out these handgunners here. Instead opting to come after these units over here. But at this point, he's pretty much the only thing left for the Empire forces. So he's going to have to come down eventually. And looks like coming down for one last heroic charge. Nope, not quite. Yep, and there he comes now, getting a nice rear charge here, and him actually working together with Thorgrim to finish off these the last of these Skaven units. Papasoda is still in this fight at 16,000 points. Turn's at 12,000, so if Turn can potentially come back with the help of Goat Jesus here, he could win it out, but it looks like they're actually turning on each other now. Thorgrim and this Bright Wizard, it's only going to take a few swings from Thorgrim to see this Bright Wizard off. He's got excellent combat stats, very nice weapon strength, and yep, looks like that Bright Wizard is going to get out of here. He's deciding this is not a place he wants to be. There's still a few Gutter Runners tied up in here, but the Death Runners now coming in, and this is it. This is if Thorgrim can survive this fight, then the Dawi could potentially pull this out here. Standing around being used up to 89 melee defense, and he's going to not take a ton of damage here, actually. He's taking some damage. The Weeping Blade bringing him down to only 60 armor, but These Death Runners are really just struggling to get through that high melee defense. Even without that, he's got 62 melee defense, so they're going to be having a hard time with their only 39 melee attack, but they are doing damage over time here. These Corlers using up the last of their ammunition to shoot these guys in the back, and a rear charge from the Bright Wizard could break them. So are they going to break? Let's see, the Bright Wizard coming in. Now we've got the Corlers coming in as well for a rear charge, and it is going to be enough to break those Death Runners. So just barely the Dawi holding out against those nasty little Death Runners. That Bright Wizard as well being routed off. That's probably going to be army losses for the Empire. I can't imagine they're going to stick around too much more. Yep, without units on the ground, they're forced to attack or surrender, and I do believe they're just going to shatter with army losses. The Death Runners did come back from routing, and those Corlers actually shattered, so it's now just up to Thorgrim. Can he do it? Can he hold against the tide of rats? He's going to get a nice swipe there, take out maybe one or two. Ah, man, it's so close. The Skaven are wavering, though. They're not too happy. Can Thorgrim do it? Come on, Thorgrim. I believe. Settle the grudges. How many grudges have been written against the nasty Skaven? Slay them. Ew. Oh, man. Wow. Army losses for the Skaven. So let's go ahead. I didn't even see who pulled ahead on points there at the end. So, looks like Papa Soda was still able to hold out just barely by about 600 points. So, wow, what a close conclusion, though. Let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown. My forces mostly got raffle stomped, getting shot up by artillery, and then I just really wasn't able to trade very efficiently against those Skaven. Really put it to me, so well played to Papa Soda there, getting some really nice points. Those Death Runners, the Night Runners, and those Plague Monks as well, racking up a ton of kills. The Plague Claw Catapult getting 156 as well is very, very nice. Yeah, those Sensor Bears and the Death Runners, those guys are brutal. Absolutely brutal. For Turin, the cannons, both the cannons getting excellent value. The Iron Breakers as well, 104 kills, 103 kills on these Slayers. Longbeard's got some really nice work done against the Empire as well. Those range units, this unit of Thunderers picking up 91 kills and 2 chevrons. Excellent work. For Go Jesus, those Hellstorm rocket batteries, they got a lot of kills, but I don't know if they really paid for themselves. Those Outriders definitely paid for themselves. 110 kills on Outriders is incredible. I don't know if I've ever seen Outriders get that many kills, to be honest. 81 kills on Halberdiers is great as well. I'm not sure what they were butchering, but they butchered something. Handgunners did decently. Greatswords didn't really trade at their cost, and the Swordsmen mostly just got killed there. But Karl Franz also didn't do a whole lot as well. That Bright Wizard, though, getting that Burning Head and the Flame Storm, some really nice area of effect work done by Go Jesus there. So well played to everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this Mortal Empires preview, if you will. For those of you who missed it, Mortal Empires did get announced officially this morning as October 26th release date, so get excited about that. I'll be covering it a bit more and doing some additional testing as we move forward and move towards the release date, so stay tuned for more, and we'll see you next time.